Hello, everyone. Welcome to Joe the Lawyer. Today, we're going to look at a story out of Chicago. The title is Video Shows Chaotic Scene Before Daylight Home Invasion, Armed Robbery Attempt in Arlington Heights. This article is from April 9th, 2020, out of the Chicago Tribune. I'm going to run through the article, then we're going to watch the video, and then we're going to learn something about second degree or felony murder and how it applies to this case. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining Joe Pometto, Joe the Lawyer. Here on this show, we cover legal news, legal topics, and talk about the law in general. If you like my content, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. I'm really looking for subscriptions right now. I'd love to get to 1,000 on this channel. I can monetize the channel. It's free to subscribe. It's a free way to support this show, which will always remain free. Most of my viewers are not subscribed, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and go ahead, hit the notifications as well. Also, if you sign up for my email list below, you'll get a free PDF on what to do when pulled over by the police. Okay, so let's dig into this article. This is also very relevant right now. It has to do with coronavirus, COVID-19, masks. Is very interesting. Okay, so video shows chaotic scene before daylight home invasion, armed robbery attempt in Arlington Heights. Let's run through the article first because you're going to need some context before we watch the video. A doorbell video of a shocking daylight home invasion in Arlington Heights was released by police Thursday, shows a chaotic scene before the attempted robbery ended with a homeowner fatally shooting one of the intruders. The Ring doorbell video begins with two men identified by police as Bradley J. Finnan of Chattanooga, Texas, 38, and Larry D. Brodach, 58, of Buffalo Grove, approaching the front door of the manicured two-story home in the 2400 block of Evergreen Avenue, with the duo wearing baseball caps, surgical-style masks, and gloves. They got their PPE on. They're using PPE as a cover to commit a burglary. The pair had plotted a robbery at the house to sync with the state's stay-at-home order issued by Governor J.B. Pritzker to help prevent the spread of the new coronavirus, authorities said. See, I already covered an article where cops are going around posing or people are going around posing as cops, fake cops. People, criminals take advantage of situations like this. A man authorities say was determined to be Brodach can be seen in the video trying the doorknob, knocking, then seeing the Ring camera and warning the other man, determined to be Finnan, not to look at the camera. The man police identifies as Brodach then rings the doorbell. The video shows the two men entering the home and shouting out a greeting, after which the scene soon turns to mayhem, with screams and expletives heard from inside. Within seconds, a man authorities say is Finnan can be seen on the video being chased out the door by a male homeowner. A struggle ensues between the two men in front of the home. The incident took place around 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon, and landscapers are visible in the video looking over and calling out. Soon afterwards, the man authorities said has been identified as Finnan runs away. The video ends when the homeowner rushes back into the house. According to police, the homeowner said he heard a knock on the door and assumed it was his landscapers. He told authorities when he answered the door, two men pushed their way inside the house where his wife and two children were inside. Police said that the homeowner told them that after Finnan ran off, he went back inside to get his wife's weapon while Brodach held the man's wife and children at gunpoint. The homeowner and Brodach fought, and at some point, Brodach was disarmed, according to police. Authorities said Brodach was shot and killed by the male homeowner with his wife's gun. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office later ruled the death a homicide, and Finnan, found early Sunday morning in Rockford, has been charged with felony murder and home invasion. I'm going to explain how this guy who got away is charged with felony murder. According to police, Finnan said he and Brodach met through their shared profession as car salesmen. Finnan reportedly told authorities that Brodach had claimed to have seen about $200,000 in cash in boxes in the Arlington Heights home about 20 years ago and thought the money might still be there. Finnan was ordered held in Cook County Jail without bail following a bond hearing Tuesday at the courthouse in Rolling Meadows. Here's a brief explanation. Under Illinois felony murder law, charges can be filed when someone is killed during the course of a crime, even if the death was caused by someone else and the person charged with the murder did not intend for the person to die. Okay, so we're going to watch the video now. And I'll tell you, before we watch this video, I don't know, I've said this before, I don't know how anyone thinks that they can rob a house in the United States of America, okay? There are so many gun owners. I mean, you got to have a death wish to rob a house in the United States. I'm sorry, you got to have a death wish. Let's watch the video real quick. Okay, that's the end of the video there. Again, from reading the article, it sounds to me like the guy wasn't shot until that homeowner, that male homeowner, had run back into the house. So it'll be interesting if this case goes to trial to see what actually played out afterwards. So the one guy was shot and killed. Now, the guy who ran away is charged with felony murder. There was a brief explanation in here, but let's look at exactly what felony murder is. In Pennsylvania, it's actually second-degree murder. But so the rule of felony murder is a legal doctrine in some common law jurisdictions that broadens the crime of murder. When an offender kills, regardless of intent to kill, in the commission of a dangerous or enumerated crime called a felony in some jurisdictions, the offender and also the offender's accomplices or co-conspirators may be found guilty of murder. The concept of felony murder originates in the rule of transferred intent, which is older than the limit of legal memory. In its original form, the malicious intent inherent in the commission of any crime, however trivial, was considered to apply to any consequence of that crime, however unintended. So to sort of explain that a little bit better, if 5 people go in and try to commit a burglary, but only one person committing the burglary, okay, shoots somebody else, those other 4 people, the shooter, his intent, okay, to kill is then transferred on to the 4 other individuals who participated in that crime. Now, the circumstance here is different than that because the 2 men go into the house to commit a burglary, all right, and then the homeowner kills one of the men, and then the guy who ran off is charged with the death of the individual who was his friend, his fellow burglar, even though someone else killed him, okay? Let's get down here. All right, so we'll get into that. There is debate about the original scope of the rule. Modern interpretations typically require the offense to be an inherently dangerous one or one committed in an obviously dangerous manner. For this reason, the felony murder rule is often justified by its support as a means of deterring dangerous felonies. So the concept is people won't commit felonies if they know that if someone ends up dying during the course of that felony, then they will go to jail even if they didn't kill them and even if they didn't intentionally kill them. There's debate as to whether this deterrence actually works, but that's part of the the principle behind it. In most jurisdictions, to qualify as an underlying offense for a felony murder, the underlying offense must present a foreseeable danger to life, and the link between the offense and the death must not be too remote. That's the first paragraph there of the elements. So it can't be something ridiculous. They say here, for example, if the recipient of a forged check has a fatal allergic reaction to the ink, most courts will not hold the forger guilty of murder, as the cause of death is too remote from the criminal act. However, if you go in and you burglarize a house with a gun and the homeowner ends up shooting your friend, that would be viewed as foreseeable, and there is a causal link there that most courts will uphold. Now, I can get into a little bit more of this. There are two schools of thought concerning whose actions can cause the defendant to be guilty of felony murder. Jurisdictions that hold to the agency theory admit only deaths caused by the agents of the crime. Jurisdictions that use the proximate cause theory include any death, even if caused by a bystander or the police, provided that it meets one of several proximate cause tests to determine if the chain of events between the offense and the death was short enough to have legally caused the death. And that is exactly what you are seeing here in this case. There was no one-to-one link here. The agency theory admits only death caused by the agents of the crime. That's not what we're operating with. This is the proximate cause theory that this guy was charged under. Critics of the felony murder rule argue the rule is unjust because it requires no intent to kill. And this rule can have some interesting side effects. I don't want to say side effects. Results. For example, 20-year-old Florida resident Ryan Hall was convicted of first-degree murder for lending his car to a friend after his friend told him that he intended to go beat an 18-year-old girl. The friend took the car and beat the girl to death. In favor of the rule, it can be argued the rule affirms the principle of the sanctity of life by imposing harsher penalties for crimes that destroy human life. Some commentators regard the rule of transferred intent as a legal fiction, whereby the law pretends that the person who intended one wrongful act also intends all the consequences of that act, however foreseen. Others regard it as an example of strict liability, whereby a person who chooses to commit a crime is considered absolutely responsible for all possible legal consequences of that action. Lord Muscle regards the historic rule as a convergence of those two views. Now, this rule is in place in the United States. I believe in most jurisdictions. In Pennsylvania, it's actually considered second-degree murder. So the murder generally carries not as long of a sentence as regular first-degree murder, where you would get life imprisonment. For second-degree murder, you can get something less than that. Also, I believe, I'm not sure, but I know some jurisdictions do this. In Pennsylvania, it's limited to only certain crimes. So felony murder can only be charged with certain crimes. However, I am almost positive that one of those crimes is burglary. So Illinois may have a similar rule. Overall, I hope you learned something here. With second degree or felony murder rule, okay, if you are committing a crime, if someone is committing a crime with somebody else and a person ends up dead, you can be charged with second degree murder. This is often charged not necessarily in situations like this one, but when people commit a crime, so let's say a bank robbery, and then the police come to the bank robbery to stop the robbers, and they end up shooting some of the robbers, and one robber survives, sort of like this scenario. That robber can be charged with the deaths of the other people, even though it was the police who killed them. So be very, very careful. This is a powerful rule, a powerful tool for prosecutors. I'll say this again. I don't know how anybody is dumb enough to try to rob a house in the United States of America. These two guys thought that there was $200,000 in cash from 20 years ago. Okay, and they come in and they rob the house when the guy's home with his wife and his two kids. I mean, what did they think was going to happen? The father shooting this gentleman is probably going to be protected by self-defense doctrine. It looks like the police didn't even charge him, and the other guy's looking to go to jail for a really long time, and the other guy lost his life. And one of the saddest parts about this is they're wearing face masks. They're trying to take advantage of the coronavirus, and it's really sad. I think we're seeing a lot of this. I'll be interested to see if crime during the coronavirus shutdown went up or down overall. So I hope you learned something here about second degree felony murder rule, and you found this story interesting. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm Joe the Lawyer. If you like my channel, please like, subscribe, comment, and share, especially looking for subscriptions. This is a fresh story, hot off the presses, and I will have more for you to come. Thank you.